We are back with another video. Today, we will be reviewing Mike Band's 2026 NFL Mock Draft 1.0. Jeremiah Love to the Commanders. Cardinals land a quarterback via trade. This is very possible for both teams. And if this happens, I would not be extraordinarily surprised. We'll start off with Fernando Mendoza going to the Jets. So, Fernando Mendoza is an awesome prospect. I don't think he's the greatest first-round prospect we've ever seen in terms of, number one overall quarterback, but there is a lot of intangibles to him. That's why he's going number one overall. And this team is a quarterback-needy team, and quarterback's the most important position in football. Argue with the wall. If you disagree with that, you're wrong. I mean, literally, quarterback is the most, it's in tiers of its own, right? It's tier 1 is quarterbacks, tier 2 are, tackles, and then maybe a premier edge rusher. Tier 3 is going to be wide receivers and guards and defensive tackles, and corners. Corners are on that tier 2 as well. But quarterback is the most important position. That's what I'm trying to get at today, and that's the whole point of this. It really is, and that's why you might see teams like the Cardinals, the Jets reach on Ty Simpson. Maybe the Jets trade back into the first round and get Ty Simpson. There's areas there teams can go. I don't know how comfortable I am as Fernando Mendoza being the most generational prospect ever. He's a solid prospect. He really is, and he was already getting first round grades at Cal when he was transferring to Indiana. So there was the upside there too. But did you want to take the chance on him? And that's the whole area. But he produced, and the production is undeniable. So at one point he'd be okay, yeah, the production is undeniable. Let's go for it. Like it a lot. It's easy to pick, but yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. The Jets take Aubrey Reese, linebacker out of Ohio State. So what you see with these type of mock drafts, right? It's always Mendoza. Then 75 to 80% of the time, it's always Aubrey Reese too, because it fits schematically. And I know both Ruben Bain and David Bailey have both had experience at outside linebacker snaps. So even in this D4 defense, they could suffice. I think Aubrey Reese fits the scheme better, and people don't understand that. I've seen people, I've talked to people who've been yeah, Aubrey Reese is good, but so does David Bailey. He played an outside linebacker scheme, but he hasn't played an outside linebacker scheme in over a year. Ruben Bain has only played around 200, ballpark 200, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, ballpark 200 snaps at outside linebacker. And he wasn't bad by any means, but he doesn't have the experience that Aubrey Reese had, which he played 50-50. Well, it was 51-49, 51 off ball, 49 on ball, and that was the biggest part for this team. And even if he isn't the best as an edge rusher, right? Because you've seen players like Abdul Carter, Michael Parsons. I don't have the comp for. He's not an Abdul Carter / Michael Parsons comp for me, because if he was, he'd be playing a full-time edge. You've seen those full-time edges be successful after transitioning from off-ball to on-ball / edge. That changes things. That really does, and people will really like to talk about that, and that makes a lot of sense, because even if he doesn't work out as an edge, you're taking him for his edge upside, but he's also had pretty good reps as linebacker. So if you take him as an edge, you have the ability to get him as an edge, but he can also be an off-ball linebacker if it does not work out. And I don't think it won't work out. I think he'll be good, but I just don't think that. I just think that there's some reassurance there. So I like it a lot. I really do. So it makes a lot of sense for this team. Cardinals take offensive tackle Francis Mano. It's not a bad option either. They need another fit with Paris Johnson here. Again, the thing with Francis Mano, he's my tackle 1 in this class. People either like Fano or Bain more, but I think that with Mano, right, his speed isn't gonna kill you. It really isn't. He's not gonna be the fastest offensive lineman on the field at the time, right? I don't think that's really in his skill set, but there is areas where I'm okay, he is so strong, and his playoff run was so dominant against some of these good edge rushers in Cassius Howell, and who else did they play? Aubrey Reese, Caden Curry, the Ohio State area, and obviously in Ole Miss too. They play against some good pass rushers there, and then they play against obviously Indiana. That whole run, even if they didn't win, I was sold him as a prospect, because I remember watching him sometimes in different plays. I watched only the O-line, because that's where I played at football, so I always had a good appreciation when I watched offensive linemen, and it really made sense while watching him, because I was okay, this guy has unreal strength. He was throwing around people like it was nothing. There was also a play in Pitt before the college football playoff started, when they went into Pittsburgh, and he dominated Kyle Lewis. There was one run up. I think it was Kyle Lewis. I think it was Kyle Lewis. Where Kyle Lewis was coming off blitzing at the edge. He just threw him off like it was nothing, and that's where I love the strength from him. That's really where I love the strength. So it made me sell him as a prospect in terms of like actual like strength, and that's what I want from my offensive tackle. I'd rather I would obviously love him to be fast, but I feel like strength is a big like key as an offensive lineman for guard and tackle, and even as center. Those three positions need really good strength, and I'd rather sacrifice the unreal strength for the unreal speed. Like that's my whole ordeal with that. So I don't dislike it. I really don't. So we'll move on, but I like it a lot here. Titans take David Bailey edge out of Texas Tech. I can understand seeing this happening too. The thing when I have a problem with David Bailey versus someone like Ruben or even Arvar Reese is that David Bailey, the strength is too marginal, and I feel like that's a common issue in the mock draft community, even for analysts and internet influencers, that they all believe that David Bailey's his strength is so marginal, you don't know what you're going to get from him. And obviously his speed's going to get there. He's going to get to the quarterback if he wins, right? He has a 4.50 speed, which is crazy good, right? That's an awesome fit. But I think that even with Robert Saleh, I think they still should go running back, because I think Brian Daboll, you've seen what he's done with Saquon Barkley. You've seen what he's done even with Tyrone Tracy, and now he made Tyrone Tracy 1,000-yard scrimmage yard back. Like, you've seen that happen, and people will be like, okay, right, like David Bailey is a good option, and David Bailey, again, is a solid option. It is. I'm not as high as him as some of the other people are, because strength is marginal. Bend is not that great for his size, and I don't know how strong he will get. And people are like making the joke that I want my edge rusher to have drip. I'm not gonna take that into account, because that's just fucking stupid if I take that into account. But like, I guess you can add that on, but I don't know. I just think that like taking David Bailey here, it's very plausible with Robert Saleh. I would say this would be a little less plausible if they had an offensive minded coach, but they also have Brian Daboll too, so I can definitely see them go both ways. But I like David Bailey as a prospect. I just don't think he's as game changing as some of these other linebackers or edges on the board. And honestly, I would rather you take. I'm a big Derek Moore guy. I would rather you take Jeremiah Love and then trade back in the second round, or even like kind of reach for Derek Moore, because Derek Moore had a crazy good Senior Bowl and combine, and we're just forgetting about Derek Moore. Like that's my issue. I think David Bailey would be awesome, but I just think I like Jeremiah Love more, especially with the teardrop at running backs. You need more weapons for Cam Ward. So that's my whole take on this. I think David Bailey is very plausible, and it's definitely very needed. And the team has an edge rusher, even with Jermaine Johnson. I just don't think you're committed to him very, very long term. So if you take David Bailey here, it's not a bad option per se. But again, there's a lot of interesting areas to talk about with David Bailey. Giants take linebacker Sonny Styles edge out of linebacker. Whoa. I was looking at this. Giants take linebacker Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. Not a bad option either. Like, he literally is. Like, he feels like a kind of like a New York Giant in my eyes. I'm a Giants fan, as you guys know. Wearing the Knicks jersey today because they're playing against the Thunder. So I'm gonna go watch that. But yeah, Sonny Styles, like, it's a solid pick. It really is, and he isn't. Like, the people are saying he throws himself into tackles. When I watched film, I didn't really see that was big of an issue. Yes, he can be a little reckless and close out and get closer to the ball a little bit closer. I think that would come with more development, because he hasn't played linebacker for that long. So that would make more sense. And his athletic traits are above the charts and off the marks. Like, that's awesome. And I think the Giants would want to trade down here. I wouldn't hate a trade down here and then take someone like Caleb Downs. But I think you maybe invest into Newman long term. I know Newman was taken with Brian Daboll, but Joe Schoen's still there. So I think Joe Schoen actually liked Tyler Newman. You also have Javon Holland, who signed last year for like a 3 or 4 year deal. So I don't dislike anybody in that safety room. I'm not committed to Tyler Newman long term, even though he is a third-year rookie, so a third-year player. So that's not my issue. My issue is linebacker too, because linebacker was such a revolving door last year. Like, last year it was Bobby. The starting off was Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden. Okay, cool. Micah McFadden broke his leg, or did something happened with his leg. Was out for the rest of the season. In the first like 3 quarters in the in that game. Okay, and then you had Darius Musa, who was in and out of the injury report. Then you had Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, who was fine for what he was asked for, but he wasn't he wasn't a starting caliber linebacker. But that linebacker area was so bad, and all of this was next to Bobby Okereke, who was just had a revolving door around linebackers. And then eventually the coach got fired, and then the defensive coordinator got fired. Like, all that just added up and piled up, and that they just need a refresh. And I think Sonny Styles to be that refresh in the linebacker room, just regardless. So I like it a lot here. I think it makes a lot of sense for the team. Bounce take Monroe Freeling offensive tackle out of Georgia. I watched Monroe Freeling's tape. I love it. I think he's my left tackle number one, tackle number two. He is awesome. He's really awesome. And I think the thing with Monroe Freeling is that people are concerned about is his experience, but he's so quick for his size. He's 6'6" or 6'7" and 315, and he's just so gigantic for it. Like, so moves so quick and moves like freakishly fast for his size. And teams and organizations might fall in love with that, and I wouldn't blame them. I really wouldn't. And the thing with offensive tackle here, they need a left tackle. It's not a bad option to take a left tackle here. I don't think there's a ton of left tackle depth. I'm not committed to that long term. I think Monroe Freeling could be awesome for this team. I think if you take Monroe here, it's not a bad option. And the thing, and Monroe, again, he can just run at you full speed. He's really fast. He could chip you out. Like there was a play against I think it was against Florida, where he literally stopped an entire stunt by himself, where he chips out and then he pushes the guy left. Like when I was watching that on film, I was like, okay, that's what I want from my offensive tackle. He's big, he's fast, he can maybe just stop an entire stunt by himself, and it's good. He can get his hands on you quickly. Like in the running game, he can get downhill really quickly and just run you and bulldoze you. That's what I want from him. He will be an awesome fit for this team. Great offensive tackle. Commanders take Jeremiah Love. This is in the title. Jeremiah Love goes to the Commanders junior out of Notre Dame. Not a bad idea to take him here as well. Jacoby Crosby-Merritt is really the only guy on the roster right now. I think they're not committed to any running back in Jacoby Crosby-Merritt long term at all. So if you take Jeremiah Love here, it's not a bad option. It really isn't, and I think I like Jeremiah Love here. Great one-cut speed ability. And I said this yesterday's when I was reviewing my King Josh Edwards mock draft. I said, would you rather try Jeremiah Love for a little bit or get a run back later? I'd rather take Jeremiah Love, obviously. So like that's the area, and you don't want to overwork him and him eventually get injuries and then be kind of shitty offensive line with a shitty scheme, because that's what happened to Ash Jenny. And then people are starting to blame Genty. It was like, if you watch football and you watch a little bit of Raiders games, I don't watch many Raiders games, but when I watched Raiders games, I was realizing, okay, this offensive scheme is terrible and you're fucking over Ash Jenty. So that's my whole area with that. So I think I like Jeremiah Love here. It makes a lot of sense for this team schematically and also just in general. So makes sense, really makes sense. Saints take Carlton Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Not a bad option either. I think Carlton Tate, like, he's literally going to be a 1B to Chris Olave's 1A, and they get another wide receiver from Ohio State in there. Tyler Shough is playing on a cheap deal. It really is, and regardless how old he is, he's still playing on a cheap rookie scale deal, and I would try to maximize that as much as possible. I think that makes a lot of sense for this team. It really does. And with Carlton Tate, right, is that I think that Carlton Tate has crazy good route running. He really does. His crazy good route running, and his separation is fine. His catch point is really good. And sometimes he just off the line, he just burns you. Like not like off his speed, right? He doesn't have crazy speed right now. 4.59 or 4.6. I think 4.5958. In the combine. I wasn't worried about that at all because I knew I was gonna get great route running, great separation, great hands from him. It's off the line, he doesn't burn you with his speed, he burns you with his route running, his crispness, his footwork, all of that. He developed that over time at Ohio State, and he eventually made changes to his route running, and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe he can be the next good wide receiver out of Ohio State, and he was. So I think I like Carlton Tate here a lot. Makes a lot of sense for his team. Maximize Tyler Shough's rookie deal, not a bad option. Chiefs take Ruben Bain, edge out of Miami. I like this a lot too. I know they do have George Karlaftis, but I want more. George Karlaftis hasn't been a bad pick for the value. It really hasn't. But he hasn't been like the game changer you would have wanted him to be. But at pick 32 was fine value. So I don't dislike George Karlaftis, but I think I like Ruben Bain here too. It kind of fits that Spags role too with that great big edge rusher, and I love Ruben Bain. He's my edge one in this class because I view Arthur Reese as a linebacker. So I view Ruben Bain as an edge one, and he would be awesome in the Spags scheme. And the amount of capital the Chiefs have, I feel like I can wait for a corner here. I know Mansour is available, but I think I would prefer Bain over Mansour, and then Mansour over Downs. So that's my whole area. But if Mansour and Bain are gone before the Chiefs, I'll be comfortable taking Downs here, but today they go Bain because they get the pick of the litter of the guys they really need, and edge is a big need for this team, so I don't dislike Ruben Bain here at all. Bengals take safety, Ohio State, Caleb Downs out of Ohio State. I like Caleb Downs a lot here too. Caleb Downs has so much flexibility. I mean, he's just already, like, I think he can already be a Pro Bowl / Rookie of the Year type talent already. Like, he's just that good. And he doesn't have a very valuable role in the NFL, but he does have a very good role in the NFL. I think he will make this role valuable. And you've seen players like Kyle Hamilton be very successful, and you've seen like players like Jamal Adams who kind of fit the similar mold as Caleb Downs, where they get a lot of tackles. It's like they make differences. And I love Caleb Downs as a player. And I think just in the locker room, just in on the field, where he kind of like, the thing, like when I was watching his film, the thing with Keldon, like he kind of like senses the play, or like he knows the play before the play actually happens. And it's not like he's always at the right place at the right time. He's always at the right place because he knows what's gonna happen, because he's that smart, and his physical is already as good anyways. So when going from Alabama to Ohio State, he refined his skills so much that like I was like, okay, wow, this guy's gonna be good in the NFL. And that when they won the national championship last year, I was like, fuck, dude, he might be like great. He might be the next best safety, and that's what I want from a safety. Like, I actually really like it. I like Caleb Downs here. I really do. I love Caleb Downs for this team too. Being a real tackling guy, real game changer, culture builder, not a bad option. Dolphins take Mansour Lane, LSU corner. Especially with Jeff Hafley and Dominic Sullivan coming, they both want a defensive player. Not a bad option to see Mansour going here. And I think that even with Hafley, I think a wide receiver is still on the board, but I think if Mansour falls here, I like Mansour a little bit more. Again, he's a little bit smaller, his arm length's a little shorter, but the production is undeniable. And I'd rather take a shot on Mansour than Jamal McCoy. As much as I like Jamal McCoy in 2024, I would prefer Mansour here because you know what you're getting out of him, and you're not really concerned with the speed and agility. So I don't dislike Mansour here. I also don't dislike Jamal McCoy here. I think teams might like the prospect of Jamal McCoy a little bit more, but I think Mansour is not a bad option regardless. And he's only allowed 15 catches on literally a schematic fit. Really good for this team. I really like it. Cowboys take Jamal McCoy corner out of Tennessee. I don't dislike this either. I think that the Christian Barker has had these developmental guys. So I think as a defensive backs coach, I think a defensive back is 100% probably going at 12. I think whether it be Thieneman, whether it be Jamal McCoy, whether it be Avion Terrell, those guys are definitely available at 12, and I don't dislike Jamal McCoy at all as a prospect. It's just like there's concerns. There's a lot of there's not concerns. There's question marks. I think concerns a little bit longer, but there's question marks. Like, you don't know what you're going to get because he is a little bit like you rely on his, like, he didn't rely on it, but he used his speed efficiently very well. And with some of these ACL injuries, that you don't move the same sometimes, and that's what you're concerned with Jamal McCoy, is that, like, do you think he will have a step back because he won't have the speed to rely on? He was really fast as a corner. He was really good. He closed the gap really quickly. That's why he got a bunch of breakups. And that's what's interesting, because Jamal McCoy has an ACL injury. You don't know how well he will start accelerating, because believe it or not, ACL injuries have long-lasting impacts if you don't, like, if your leg isn't built for it. And that's gigantic moving part. But I think Dallas Cowboys, for what they need in the corner room, taking a chance on Jamal McCoy to be real locked down number one corner is not bad. And you've seen even with the developmental corners here, you've also seen like Quinyon Mitchell, who had injury concerns. You've also seen Derek Stingley, also had injury concerns and lack of production coming out of college, eventually turned to blossom into these like great corners. So it's not a bad option to ride the high. Rams to Kenan Sadiq, Oregon tight end. Not a bad option either. He ran a 4.3940, really good, awesome run. I think even with this tight end room, which isn't terrible, it's not the worst in the league, I don't dislike another tight end here. I'm going to go Kenan Sadiq here. Again, it's an easy pick. You play on the outside, and there's growing concern that this is Matt Stafford's last year, so why don't you get another weapon? I mean, it would be awesome for his team to get, like, they can afford the luxurious pick, so if you take Kenan Sadiq here, it's not a bad option whatsoever. The Baltimore Ravens take Spencer Final, offensive tackle out of Utah. Declan Doyle uses these guard hybrids, guard/tackle hybrids. It's awesome. It's really awesome. So Spencer Final, even with his new measured pro day, I think I still kind of view him as guard, but I think there is definitely more possibility to eventually play into tackle. So I don't dislike the tackle option at all. He also band lists him as offensive lineman, so I think it's a little bit of both. So don't dislike Spencer Fontaine here. I really don't. I think Spencer Fontaine would be an awesome fit for this team regardless. So I don't dislike it. Makes a lot of sense. Bucks take Akeem Esther edge on Miami. I'd rather them do this than take a chance on Kojic Folk, because this team needs a little less developmental project in terms of edge rushing, getting the quarterback. Akeem Esther could probably instant edge rushing ability, and he didn't really get, like, there's injury concerns there, but there isn't really like much injury concerns when he didn't play in the interior. And you guess somebody has flexibility to play in the interior, but again, the injury concerns, I would prefer him as an edge. You get to the quarterback, he's a real good quarterback rusher. A little bit more to be developed on the pass rushing side, but his edge as an edge and a pure pass rusher, he was awesome. A good contrast to Ruben Bain. I definitely think he's worthy of a first round pick. It's the problem is his age. But if he was like literally, if he wasn't 25 going to the league, he would probably be a consensus top 10 pick. So I don't dislike Akeem here. I really don't, and I think I would like Akeem to go to the Bucks out of any other team because again, instant edge production. This team is building for the future. They're low-key building for the now. So I don't dislike taking Akeem here. Jets take Makai Lemon offensive tackle out of USC. I don't dislike Makai Lemon at all either. I like, he kind of seems, he literally has the Amon-Ra St. Brown mold that Aaron Glenn has been around. So I think this is definitely plausible too. I think with Garrett Wilson is that like Garrett Wilson can do whatever. I think Garrett Wilson's top 10 receiver when healthy with a right quarterback. But with Makai Lemon is that like, do you think like, are you worried with the character concerns? I don't know if there's like crazy good character concerns, but like there is like apparently he didn't bomb his interview process, but he didn't do great in that. So like he might drop because of that. But I think like as a catch point, as a dropper, like with his hands, like he doesn't drop anything. He really doesn't. It's just, the only problem is his size and explosiveness, which he doesn't have like crazy elite speed. But like it seems with Amon-Ra St. Brown, like Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't have like elite speed. Like he doesn't have like Xavier Worthy or Jameson Williams type speed. But like he does have like decently enough speed, right? Like he's more of a slot guy, or like more like a zone type guy. But Kyle Lemon, he's kind of like that too. So I think you can kind of use him that similar way, even next to Adonai Mitch, who's also like a real like go getter type player. So it's not a bad option to a good contrast to his wide receiver rooms. Really not. The Detroit Lions take Blake Miller, offensive tackle out of Clemson, especially after Taylor Decker's departure. I think that you take Blake Miller here, who's very battle tested. I would honestly rather take a chance on Keenan Proctor. Get your area. I think Keenan Proctor can definitely be playing guard. And his lateral movements is not as bad as he was saying. So I think he played guard or tackle. So I think it's definitely an interesting area to talk about Blake Miller. I think he's, for how battle tested he is, he does have a bunch of lapses in his play. So it's like, do you want to take a chance on take a chance on Keenan Proctor, who has no refined technique and has crazy good athletic and good frame, or you want to take a chance on Blake Miller, who's a little less athletically, like frame wise and speed wise, but he just, you know what you're gonna get an average tackle. Like, do you want that or Keenan Proctor? So it's just a preference at the end of the day. I would prefer Keenan Proctor though. Minnesota Vikings take Dylan Thielen, Oregon safety. Not a bad option either. I think Dylan Thielen could be an amazing fit for this team. I like it a lot. It just makes a lot of sense for this team, especially with the departure of Harrison Smith to come sooner rather than later. He has left yet, but he'll be an awesome fit and a awesome player for Harrison Smith to develop and eventually take over. So I don't dislike that. And the thing with Dylan Thielen, right, is that he isn't like he can get turnovers, and he always seems to be in the right place at the right time, which is like kind of similar to Caleb Downs, where it's like, okay, I don't think it's like as like egregious as Caleb Downs, but like he is there. Like whenever we see he's there. Like in Purdue, if you watch some of his interceptions, he's always there because he knows where the ball is going, and that's what you want from your safety, be high IQ and smart. That's what I like. Same with Malcolm Warren. I feel like he was always there when he got his interceptions too, and he just knew what was happening. That's what I want for my safety. So I don't dislike it either. It would be a good upside as a safety as well. So I don't dislike it. Panthers take Peter Woods, Clemson defensive tackle. Not a bad option either. I think, again, I've said with Peter Woods, people game plan around. I'm not going to go into this rant a million times every single time I talk about it. But next to Derek Brown won't be a bad option. Really, the 3-4 scheme won't be bad. He has great strength, and I think you bank on the upside here. I'd rather them take someone like Peter Woods than I would Caleb Banks, who has more injury history, but even when he's on the field, he's really good. But the problem is he's never on the field, so that's a lot of issues there. But I think I like Peter Woods here a lot. Makes a lot of sense for his team. Next to Derek Moore would be an awesome 1-2 punch in the defensive interior, so it's not a bad option to take him here. Cowboys take Keldrick Folk, edge out of Auburn. I don't think the Cowboys historically go for this type of edge. Again, you've seen with Dominic Gazaruku, they go with that type of guy who gets to the quarterback, who isn't like most refined as a run stopper, but they can get to the quarterback. But with Keldrick Folk, right, is that like he has such a high floor run stopper. Like, I wouldn't hate the schematic fit. They just don't usually go for it, so I don't think it'll happen. But I don't dislike Keldrick Folk at all here. And people are saying like Keldrick Folk is not a first round type player. I beg to differ. I think Keldrick Folk is a first round type player. I think this is more of his range though, because I think the people are getting too excited mocking him in the top 10. Like I've seen him go as high as like number 7 to the Commanders, and I was like, you're mocking him a little too high, bro. Like let's chill out a little bit, because with Keldrick Folk, right, you're going to get a higher run-stopping interior, but there is more development needed. And I think you could take a chance on that later in the first round versus early in the first round. And he is going to get you good run-stopping ability. And he also had a good amount of sacks at Auburn. But I just don't think that'll work as well in the NFL level without a little bit more refinement. I think he definitely can get there. It's just that like right now I'm a little concerned. That's the thing with most prospects. Like I think they can get there. It's just they need a little bit more refinement now, and that's what I want from Keldrick Full, because I want a little bit more refinement. I think in Dallas it's not a bad option, especially with how loaded that defensive interior is, and even Dominic Nazuruku wasn't a bad pass rusher. It would be an awesome fit for the team regardless. Steelers take Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. Not a bad option at all either. I think they can use another wide receiver, and I think they're going to start loading up on talent on that wide receiver area. I'd rather them go for Jordan Tyson than reach on an offensive tackle like Blake Miller, who's already gone, but reach on an offensive tackle like Blake Miller. I also wouldn't hate Big Ione here, who goes next, so not a bad option to take Jordan Tyson. And the only issue is the injury concerns and not the elite speed, which I saw on tape, which like the speed, he never really wowed you with the speed, but his catch point was really good. His drop percentage was not bad at all. His route running is really good. He's a crisp route running. In terms of talent, I think he's my wide receiver one. It's just the problem is he can never like stay healthy, and there's a bunch of like, it's not the same injury over and over and over and over and over again. It's a bunch of lingering issues, and that's the whole issue. It's like how beat up is his body. So that's a little interesting area to talk about, but I don't dislike Jordan Tyson here. Chargers take Big Ione, guard out of Penn State. Not a bad option at all. I think Big Ione is not a bad area. He's a strong guy. Good blocker for eventual Justin Herbert. Not a bad option. Really high floor player. Can really change his offensive line and have the direction it's going. Not a bad option. You will say Caden Proctor, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Don't hate that idea at all either. You take Caden Proctor, an offensive tackle, left tackle. You need a left tackle after Lane Johnson is hitting the end of his career, so it's not a bad option to take Caden Proctor, who doesn't have the best physical, or he has the best physical traits in the world. Yeah, like that's the whole reason why you're taking him. He hasn't really produced with this technique, and if you need a little bit more refinement, but I think if you sit him for a little bit, he could be an awesome fit for this team and be a real mauler. And if the Eagles like to take these physical beasts, you sound with Jahad Campbell, and even Quinton Mitchell, who were really good for that, but they just had injury concerns. So not a bad option. 4 or 5 star goes to Philadelphia. The Browns take Over Cooper Jr., Indiana wide receiver. Not a bad option either. Can really play him anywhere, so you don't really got to worry about anything. Yeah, so it's another area opposite Jerry Jeudy. It makes a lot of sense. Cooper can literally play anywhere. So they get the tackle and wide receiver of the future. Killer draft for the Browns if they take these type of guys. And it'll be awesome. I always had Cooper as a first-round receiver. I just always had him mocked in the second round because that's what other people were mocking him as. So I always liked Omar Cooper Jr. He just had a bunch of like great route running, great contact balance, decent enough hands, really good actually. Not decent enough, really good hands. The speed doesn't wow me, but again, I like his overall game, and I feel like everything else is super fine enough to the point where I'm comfortable taking him here, even like as high as 16. Like I don't dislike him at 16. So Orca Jr. here is fine, very, very, very versatile. Makes a lot of sense for the team. Bears taking Mellington Warren, Toledo senior, safety. Not a bad option, even with those two back end gone. Even with the sign of Kobe Bryant, it's not a bad option to take your strong safety in the future. Don't dislike it. Don't knock it. And the thing with Mellington Warren, when I did my film study on him, is that he is a real solid player. He really is. And I think with some of that is that like I feel like you want your how do I say this? You want your safety to be the most the most calm and the most the most surefire player on that team, because he's the last line of defense. He really is. So, and I think with American Warren, while watching my Toledo, I feel like okay, like no one's gonna get past him because I feel like he's a great tackler. Same with Downs, is that like no one's gonna get past him because he's just such a great tackler, and he isn't the most reliant on his athletic abilities. He's not the most athletic guy in the world. You saw with the combine, we didn't really test out that well, but like you know what you're gonna get from it, which is hard-nosed football, good hit, good power, and smart football plays, and that's what I want. And yeah, he's a long-range safety. He has so much like range, and like I feel like he was always like the last line of defense, and whatever he was, it would end up working out. So I like it a lot for the team. It fits schematically a lot as well, and then it'll be a good option to Kobe Bryant. You get younger and you get better there. I also like Mellington Warren and Kobe Bryant way more than you Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker. So it's a lot of upgrades there. So I don't dislike that at all. Cardinals take Ty Simpson, QB out of Alabama. Not a bad option to take Ty Simpson here at all. I think Ty Simpson is not a bad option for this team. And I've said this before. I'm fine with you reaching on a quarterback. That's one of the positions I'm fine with you reaching on, quarterback and tackle. If it works out, it works out, and that's what you want. And it'd be different for like a wide receiver. Like I don't want you like reaching trying to get a wide receiver or or even a linebacker. But like for Ty Simpson, right? Like there is concerns with his accuracy and his arm. I think his arm is marginal. Like there is good arm strength. There's good flashes. It's just the inaccuracy and like how well he seems to be better when he throws off his like back foot, or like when he's just like slinging like that, versus when he's like actually stepping in and going down for like a deep stride. That's the issues with marginals there. So it's interesting, but I think you can sit behind Jacoby Brissett, and even Gardner Minshew should be that number 3 guy on that area. It's not a bad option for Mike LaFleur to get his quarterback of the future. It makes a lot of sense for the team schematically as well, and you get a quarterback of the future. Maybe you worry a little bit later about more areas on that team later. You also got the tackle of the future too, so it's not a bad idea to take Ty Simpson. 49ers take Caleb Lewin off tackle out of Utah. Again, not a bad option either. I think with Trent Williams, he's another left tackle. You can be strong for that Trent Williams slot when he turns when he eventually retires. I think learning better from an offensive tackle Hall of Famer, it's not a bad way to go at it. So I don't dislike this pick at all. I think this team needs an offensive tackle. I think edges understand play too, but I like Trent Williams. I like Caleb Lewin here, and he has concerns of him moving into guard. I think I can view him more as a guard, but I think he definitely played that guard / tackle area. He can play literally wherever you want him to. So it's not a bad option for Kyle Shanahan to use. It literally makes sense. You can develop him behind a Hall of Famer. Not a bad option. Texas State, Kenny McDonald, Ohio State, defensive tackle. Not a bad option either. I think this makes a lot of sense either because you need more defensive tackle youth in that room. I think they're like starting defensive tackle is Nick Barnett, who's not a bad player. I think I want more youth in there. Great run stopper. He's the best run plugger in this draft class, in my opinion. I think he'd be had an awesome season at Ohio State. Real good nose tackle. Took over for Tyler Williams awesomely. It makes a lot of sense for this team. I love Kenny McDonald here. Be awesome for this team, and DeMeco Ryans gets another defensive weapon. The Chiefs take Avion Terrell, Clemson, cornerback number 2 in my class. I think I made that official decision today. Avion Terrell is an awesome pick, and I love Avion Terrell here. He fits that Trent McDuffie type role where he's that smaller guy getting a bunch of like breakups. The only problem is sometimes he undercuts a little bit. He's a little too aggressive, but I'd rather him be too aggressive and get you a great chunk play than him being too safe and then giving up a 10-yard play every single time. Like, I'd rather him do that. So I don't dislike Avion Terrell a lot. I think there's not much to worry about. I think other than his size and his sometimes too reckless aggressiveness, he's a real solid prospect and be a great blitzer off the edge. He's a solid pick, a great tackler, plays bigger for his size, can really jolly ball. Is an awesome fit for his team. I think they really need a corner too, and they also have they also got another pick in the second round, so you may take a wide receiver there or even a safety / linebacker. Not a bad option. Dolphins take Carlos Howell edge out of Texas A&M. I don't know how I feel about this. I would prefer something else. I would rather reach on someone else. I'd rather reach on Zion Young. Teacher Parker's still available. I'd rather do that than take Cassius Howell here. That's just my opinion. It really is just my opinion. I like Cassius Howell, but I think the arm length is too short, and you don't usually see anybody with this arm length get taken in just in the draft, but let alone in the first round. So that's my big issue there. The thing with Cassius Howell is he either wins immediately or loses immediately, and I don't think this team has the upside take. I think the Patriots are the next pick who take TJ Parker. If you just swap these guys around, it would not be a bad option because the Patriots need to get more edge rushing ability. They already have good enough edge rushers to the point where, like, okay, you can like have a bunch of rotational guys. With the Dolphins, right, I would like one real solidified piece that you can build off of. And I think TJ Parker can do that better than Cassius Howell. But if the Patriots get TJ Parker, it's not a bad option either because I like TJ Parker as a player. He's a good 3-down lineman. I think he can definitely is a 3-down lineman. People are concerned with that, but I think the production has been down, but I like him a lot. He's not the most astounding guy at everything in like physically wise, but I do like him a lot. I really do. And I don't dislike taking TJ Parker here. The Seahawks take corner Colton Hood after losing some of these secondary guys. Definitely makes more sense to go Colton Hood. Again, Colton Hood can slide into that number 1 role or not. I mean, just with Devon Witherspoon be the quarterback number 2. He's also quarterback number 2 next to Jamal McCoy in Tennessee, so it's not a bad option to keep on quarterback number 2. I like it a lot. Makes a lot of sense. But that's it. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this team. Of this mock draft. But I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.